Before I play a game on leeches, let me show you one common trap that I love with all my doors. In the queen's pawn game after d4, knight f6, c4, e5, pawn takes, knight g4, counter-attacking that pawn, knight f3, and knight c6. You see, the moment you play like this, white players mostly respond with bishop f4, defending their e-pawn or trying to hold on to it. At this point, they expect you to play the main line, bishop b4 check, followed by queen e7. Don't do that. I want you guys to surprise them with the move bishop c5. This is a direct threat on the f2 pawn if you think about it, and most likely they are going to respond with e3. Why not? Also paving the way for their light squad bishop. Now, last year I recommended the move pawn to f6 so that if white takes, you take back with the queen as if you are interested in the b2 pawn, so that after knight c3 you then take on f2 like that. This is fine, but I want to recommend something else. Instead of playing pawn to f6, I want you guys to try the move pawn to d6, which in my opinion is more solid than pawn to f6, because someday you would love to castle short, right? Point is, after pawn takes, you want to go queen f6 again, attacking the b2 pawn, and this is where most of your opponents are going to play knight c3, after which you can surprise them with a move knight takes f2. Still not clear according to Stockfish. Point is, if king takes, now you are winning as black due to queen takes f4. Not really winning, but you just equalized the game and you have initiative, and that's what really matters in chess. But there's this other intermediate move, knight d5, stopping you from capturing on e3 and also posing a threat to take on c7. That's why you need to take with your queen on d6. Bingo. But hey, just in case white doesn't take your knight on f2 and say they play knight d5 first, the best you can do here is to take on d1. Frankly speaking, just playing a queenless game. Of course, you're going to remain with a bad pawn structure, but the game will be equal with equal number of material. But hey, you can also try queen takes b2. This is also tricky as you are still attacking the rook. If white goes ahead and takes on c7, just know you'll have a chance to come back into the game. After king d8 and knight takes, they're going to take the queen. They are not going to do that. Probably they're going to rescue their queen like this, queen e2 or queen d2, whatever. And now this is when you can rescue your knight like this. I've never shown this before, so pay attention. You go knight d3 check. If queen takes, you take white's rook, and later on you rescue your a rook. There's no need for them not to take the knight, by the way. This will be a mating for after pap, king d2, queen b2 check, king takes, bishop f5 check, and knight b4 mate. This is why I love the Budapest, and what I do if I want to confuse my enemies, not showing my cards very early, is to start with the Mckenas defense against d4, because oftentimes this transposes back to the Budapest after knight f3 and knight f6, c4, and pawn to e5. Point is, after pawn takes, again this transposes back to the Budapest. Again, if bishop f4, you know what to do. You go bishop c5. If pawn to e3, you're just back to the same position where you play pawn to d6, go queen f6 in the near future. But anyway, you might think after c4 and pawn to e5 that maybe white doesn't need to take on e5 with a pawn. They need to take with a knight. Well, same stuff. You just take after pawn takes. You simply go knight g4, counter-attacking that pawn. If bishop f4, once again you have bishop c5, attacking the f2 pawn. If pawn to e3, you go d6, so that if pawn takes, you first of all need to start with knight takes f2, so that if king takes, now this is when you go queen f6, pinning the bishop to the king. I've never shown you this line before, so you're lucky if you are watching and learning about this today. Point is, we just want to go g5. Not only are we attacking the bishop, but also the b2 pawn, by the way, if you think about it. So if white plays king e1 and trying to stay out of danger, by the way, we can still go g5. That attacks the bishop. If the bishop goes back, now this is when we take on b2, attacking the rook. Nothing much can be done apart from knight d2, and now this is when we take on e3. There is no queen e2 due to check. We'll take the rook. They play rook b1 sometimes, but this fails due to bishop takes. This comes with check. Only sensible move, queen takes b1 check, and queen f5 check before castling short. So these are some of the hot tricks and traps that exist in the Budapest, and I intend to play something like this in the games that you are about to watch, beginning with the Mckenas defense. Knight c6. Let's see how the games will go. By the way you support this channel is by joining one of our membership tiers on Patreon, or simply buying my courses at www.KaspaChess.com or on my Patreon page. That really helps. Right. Again, I started with the Mckenas defense, and my opponent responded with knight f3. Against this, I like playing my Mckenas system with knight f6. Okay, after c4, the plan is to go e5. This looks dubious, but it's very playable and deadly. And now after pawn takes, the game transposes back to the Budapest, if you think about it. Here I have a number of continuations. First, I can go bishop c5 if I want, but bishop b4 is the main move. With bishop c5, I just want to sacrifice a pawn and go queen f6. I guess my opponent already knows this line, you know, the bishop b4 line. So let me surprise them with this move. Bishop c5, after pawn to e3, I give them a pawn, go queen f6, queen f6. As if I'm attacking the b2 pawn, but in reality, I'm looking at the f7 pawn. So this is where I can take on it on f2, like this. Again, the Mckenas defense, you guys. Look at this trap, which is coming. By the way, you need to be very strong playing this move. Point is, if king takes, I just take. There is an intermediate move that my opponent was supposed to play here. Knight, but maybe after knight d4, I was just going to take on b2. The game was going to become very complicated, or honestly speaking. I've played these several times. The queen was still going to be under attack. The rook, I don't know. So this is one opening line that you need to go through on your own. Anyway, my opponent took. Now I can just safely take. Uh-oh. I guess I can just take here. My opponent was threatening to take on c7, if you think about it. Oh, why am I slow? This is a 3+0 casual match. No increment, so I need to be fast. From here, I'm just thinking of castling short. Why not? Perhaps I can go a5 just to stop pawn to b4, because I'll just take. Looks like this is a new account. I think knight d2 is a sheer waste of time. This gives me chance to castle short. Oh wait, white wants to play knight e4, double attacking my bishop and queen. I guess let me just go bishop a7. That if this comes, I can just relocate my queen to the king side, or just go queen e5. At least every move must come with an attack. With queen e5, I'm also preventing the move knight c7. There we see bishop d3. Now I can develop my light squad bishop. Maybe I might even consider castling long. Why not? I'm remaining with 40 seconds. So I need to be very fast. It's very difficult doing a lot of things at once. Playing, giving commentary, and thinking. Let's go full beam. All the rooks must be centralized. What is that? That's a free pawn. Is this guy really a 2356 rated player? I don't think so. This explains why the account is new. This guy is not playing like a 23 something. Attacking the knight now. Let's attack that knight one more time. Ah, pawn takes. Can I mate? Check. Yeah, that's checkmate. 5 seconds. That was close. I thought my opponent was going to buy some time by playing bishop. Oh, wait a second. Okay, after bishop f4, maybe I was just going to take with check and then checkmate or checkmate here. Again, if king takes, I had queen h4 checkmate. Yes. Right. So nevertheless, my opponent was still losing in all angles. I think this was a wonderful game. I hope you guys enjoyed. Right, here we go. Can I play the Mckenas defense with knight c6? This opening response to d4 seems to confuse a lot of chess players. Pawn to e4, I'll go e6. I've never seen this before. Queen d5. I don't know the reasoning behind queen d5, honestly speaking. Queen d5, I guess I can just go g6 here. Ready to go knight g6 next. A knight f3 I can just take, no harm. And then pawn to c6. Point is I want to take back with my b pawn. Just take. Now this looks like the Sicilian defense somehow, with an open c file, semi-open c file. There's bishop b5 check, so I need to avoid that. This is why I said kind of the Sicilian. I don't believe in pawn to c4, so I can just go e6. Like the Scheveningen variation of the Sicilian defense, if I'm not mistaken. Or somehow in the style of the Can Sicilian. But anyway, my opponent is giving me too much play if you think about it. They are making 0 moves, non-committal moves. This is a 3+0 match, by the way. Knight f6, ready to go bishop e7 next, and castle shot. Knight c3, bishop e7, why not? I don't believe in pawn to h5 due to h6, deal done on the king side. And now I'm thinking of playing queen b6, keeping an eye on the b2 pawn, or probably queen a5, why not? f4, I don't need to mess up my pawn structure. Pawn takes, I'll be glad to take back with my d pawn, maintaining my pawn structure. There is no knight d5 due to my king's knight, which is on f6. So bishop e2, castle short, simple chess. I don't know why the Mckenas defense is so underrated, but I feel it is a worthy opening if you think about it. Now I'm tempted to play pawn to d5. Reason, I want to go bishop b4. Whenever you have a chance, always think of opening up the position if you can. I don't think this is a right capture. Queen takes, now the knight is pinned to the rook. And this reminds me of what my former coach told me a long time ago, that oftentimes it is not actually you who happens to win the game, it is actually your opponents who blunder on their own. Yeah, if I want, I can just take. Knowing that if pawn takes, yep, I have a discovery check like this. And so I'm just up a pawn if I'm not mistaken. This is check. And I'm attacking the queen and the rook. You think about it. So I can give a check first. And now I'm just up a queen. This is bad. Takes. Check. I can take everything that white has in this world. I don't know why my opponent is not resigning. Check. Awesome. By the way, this is checkmate. At first sight, I didn't pay attention to this move. I just wanted to give a check. All of a sudden, I just checkmated my opponent. I feel so bad. By the way, you can check out my courses at www.KaspaChess.com or on my Patreon page. That's how you support this channel, by the way. I don't ask for donations or free money. So the way you support this channel is by joining one of our membership tiers on Patreon or simply buying my courses. That really helps.